Hi there, this Web 2.0 review is going to be about Google Drive. It's a pretty extensive tool. It's a file storage tool similar to Dropbox, where you can store your files on the cloud and access them from multiple machines. But it's also a collaborative documenting tool, which lets you make collaborative documents live with other people. And I'm going to show you both of those features as part of this screencast. So as you see here, I'm logged into just the straight up Google page, and I am logged into my account, which you can see up here. And if you click on the matrix of dots here, it'll bring up the apps menu, and Drive is the bottom one in the middle. It looks like a little triangle of green, yellow and blue. If you click on that, it'll take you to Drive. Alternatively, you can use the URL, which is drive.google.com, and it will take you into Google Drive. And as you can see, I use this pretty extensively. I currently have 4.44 gigabytes of information in there, of which 3.6 of them are my Gmail. So I'm only really using half a gig of actual drive for files. 3.6 of it is my email. But that's I have 15 gigabytes, so I'm well away from being, I'm nowhere near close to full. So I have a number of folders here, and I actually use my Drive to record all the notes from my doctorate. So I just open up a new document on my laptop and I type into them directly in class, and then it's automatically synced with the cloud in Drive, and I can share that with my classmates if I need to, and it also synchronizes with every computer that I own. Over here on the left is a piece of software that you can install, which will let you have a folder on your local computer, which acts in exactly the same way as a Dropbox folder. Basically anything you put in there synchronizes with this group of files here, and then it synchronizes with any other computer you have this software installed on. It's very simple to use, but I don't have it installed on this computer right now. So one of the functions of Drive is to store files, and that's one of their basic functions. So this button here is the upload button, and if I click that, I have an option of files or folders. So I'm going to upload files, and let's upload the jellyfish, and I can hit open. And I've got it set so I confirm settings every time I upload something. So Drive is able to convert documents and presentations into a Google Docs format when you import them. So if I'm importing a PowerPoint up to Drive, I can have it converted into a Google Presentations format so that I can edit it live on Drive rather than having to download it again. And it's the same with Word documents and spreadsheets and drawings. All of those I can have converted automatically. And I tend to do that because it lets me edit them, and then I can always save them, export them again to a Word document or down to a PowerPoint, which is how we did our VoiceThread project. We had everybody collaborate in Drive in presentations, and then we downloaded it to PowerPoint and then re-uploaded it to VoiceThread. And it worked really well. Everybody could collaborate reasonably synchronously and asynchronously, and talk to each other through presentations to build the presentation, and then we were able to export it to a file format that VoiceThread understands. You can also convert text from PDF and images into Google Documents, which I don't normally do, because normally if I'm storing a PDF I just want it to stay as a PDF. But right now, as we're uploading an image, it doesn't really matter, so I'm just going to hit Start Upload. You can see over here it's uploaded. It's pretty quick. When it's done, you can just close this, and the jellyfish image has appeared here. If I click it, it opens up in an inline viewer, which will let me see what file is there, and that's true of every file in the system. So that's file uploading. That's very simple, and you can do folders as well as files if you want to, and you can create new folders if you want. You can have multiple folders like I have here in a folder structure, and just to organize everything. You can share files and folders with other people. So our jellyfish here, if I right click on our jellyfish, I have numerous options, and one of these is share. So I can share this file with other people, and I can just send a link to people and they'll get a link to my jellyfish picture. I can send it via Gmail, I can upload it to Google+, Facebook or Twitter. I control who has access, because currently only I can see it, but I'm the only owner. I'm the owner and the only user. If I was to share it with someone, I can type in their email address or their name down here. So let's share it with this email address here, I can then set their permissions. So I can set it so that they can edit the image. It's not really appropriate for a picture of a jellyfish, but you get the idea. I can have it so they can just view it, or I can have it so they can comment on it. I don't think comments work on jellyfish pictures, but it does work on documents and spreadsheets and the like. So let's say that they can edit it and have full access. I can opt to have them have an email. Editors, as standard, are allowed to change permissions and add other people. If you don't want them to do that, so if you don't want them to forward and share this further, you can change this so only the owner can change the permissions and add other people. So let's do that. So we don't want anyone sharing our jellyfish picture with anyone else. And then I will send it. And it adds this user who can then edit, and I can change their access at any time, and I can drop them out of the share at any time. And it says here that specific people can access, and I can change this as well. I can make it public on the web, so anybody can have access with no sign-in required. You don't have to have a Google account to do that. I can have it so that anyone with a link can do it. So if I change it to that, I can send the link to anyone, and we can set it so that they can edit if we want to, or that they can just comment, or they can just view. And you know, that's it. It's pretty granular and very, very simple to share anything. So I hit done, and it says that I've shared it, and that's it. It's very, very simple and easy to do. You can keep track of important things by starring them, just like you can in Gmail, and that just means that you can look for starred content. So if you have important files, it's just a way of finding important files in the search feature up here. So one of the other things that Google Drive does is collaborative documents. And I've created a document down here which I've already shared. So this is our Web 2.0 review of Google Drive document, as we can see up here. Now, this is Google Documents, so it's basically like a cut-down version of Word that's live online. So from here I can click and rename the document if I want to. And file menu is pretty much the same as Word, and you have edit and view and all of that kind of thing. You can get add-ons for various Drive functions. It tells me when it was last edited, and it saves all of the edits to the document in a chain, a revision history over here. Now this is the basic revision history. Down at the bottom I can click a button that lets me see a more detailed one, and as people edit this document, this will change. So if I start to type here, it will change the document, and it will let us see what's going on. I have to exit out of there to be able to change it. There we go. New edit of document by me. Can't type today apparently. And look, I've made a spelling error, so I can just click on it and change it. It has spelling, which is kind of nice. I can add links, so I can make things hot if I want to. I can insert a comment, which is very useful. So if I grab hold of the word document, which I misspelled, and click on comment, I spelled this incorrectly. I hit comment. It appears over here as a comment. Now, the idea here is that you can talk about parts of the document, and then once you've discussed it to satisfaction, you can hit the resolve button. And the idea is that it then files it away in an archive, and it's still accessible to you, but it doesn't clutter up the sidebar once you've resolved the issue. So you and I could talk about it. We could say, okay, this is the way we want to solve it. I could edit it that way and then choose to resolve it. So our discussion is resolved, it goes away, and we're done with that. Basic formatting stuff down here, basically the same as your standard word bar. You can hide the whole top bar here if you want to, if you just want to type. Up here you can see other people who are logged in. I already shared this document, as you remember, so this is the other user that's currently logged in, and they're logged on my Mac behind me. So what I'll do now is, if I leave, you can see here, over here there's a little pink cursor. Now that is the other user logged into this document. Now if I put my cursor here, and if I go over to that computer, they will see my cursor at the bottom. But what I can do is, let me just turn around and do some typing, and you'll see this document change. So I just typed in some text, which should have appeared, and that's live on that document. I can also make comments just by clicking on the comments box. And hitting reply. and that will automatically appear in the comments over here on this side. So obviously I'm being particularly mean to myself. So as we were saying, with the changes, you can now see that there's been multiple changes made and that each user has their own color. If I show a more detailed, you can see when they were done, and I can click on them and it shows me back in the past what they looked like, and I can restore to that previous revision. So even if you don't really trust who you're working with, if they make a mistake or they do something you don't like, you can just restore it back, remove all of their edits, and you're done. You can carry on from that point forward. Or if you go down a path you don't like with a presentation or a document, you can step backwards, and it's actually very, very powerful. You can also do presentations. You can do spreadsheets, and as part of spreadsheets you can do a thing called Google Forms, which lets you make essentially surveys using the spreadsheet functionality. So you go through and you build questions as if you were using something like SurveyMonkey, and it gives you a link which you can then send out to people, and they can come and they can answer the questions, and it automatically puts it in the back in a Google spreadsheet for you, which is actually very, very powerful. But we can also see that we can share this with other people. We can download as, which is the good part of this. I can download this as a Word document, which I can then send on to people who just have Word, or a PDF, or an open document format, or I can even download it as a website or plain text. If I want to create something different, I can hit the Create button and it gives me options. And as we were talking about before, I can create a new folder to store my content. I can create a document which you've seen. I can create a presentation, a spreadsheet, a form, or a drawing. I can't draw, so I'm not going to show you drawings, but I will show you Google Forms because it's kind of cool and maybe useful to you. So we give the form a title, so let's call it Web 2.0 Review Form. And we pick a format, nothing too hideous, but nothing too so let's go with letterhead. It looks nice and elegant, and we can click OK. And now basically you have options. So these are the form settings, and I can show a progress bar at the bottom of the form. Basically that says this is how far through this questionnaire that you've gone. It tells me over here whether I'm accepting responses or not, and I can turn that off if I want to stop accepting responses. I can view the form live if I want to, but we've not put any questions in it yet. And I can choose the response destination, as in where it saves the responses. And as standard, it saves it to a new spreadsheet, but you can put it anywhere you want. So right now we'll just save it to a new spreadsheet. So question 1, the sky is ... And I had help text. What color is the sky? And I have question types, and it can be a text entry, and it can be a paragraph. It can be multiple choice or multiple answer. Those checkboxes. You can do a drop-down list. You can have a Likert scale. You can do a grid. You can have a time or a date response. So right now we're going to stick with multiple choice, and we're going to say orange, and we're going to say blue, and I'm going to say green. So here I've entered some options for our question, and it's fairly easy to do, and I can drag and drop them into any order I want, or down here in advanced settings I have the option of setting a shuffle, so everybody gets a different order. If I want to add an other option and let them enter their own text, I can do that just by hitting other, and it adds it here. Now there's no correct answer to this because it's a survey. All these little dots mean is that that's the kind of question you've got. So if this was checkboxes, these would be squares. So I hit done, and I can see my question. I can test it out. If I go to view live form, it's going to open up a new window and show us what it looks like. And there's our lovely background, and here's our question. So we're going to do blue, and we're going to hit submit, and it's submitted, and we're done. And you can view another response, so we can make another one. I say taupe, hit submit, and we're done. So once we've got that, it says we now have 2 responses. So choose the response destination. So I'm going to pick a destination which is going to be this new spreadsheet. I'm going to say create. So we just created a new spreadsheet, and I can hit view responses, which then opens up the spreadsheet and hopefully fills it in and shows me what I asked. So there's the timestamp for the first one. We should be getting the second one in once it updates itself. But right now we have a live form. So if I answer some more questions, orange, try it again, purple, Okay, I can come back here, and they're all added. There's the previous tub we added, and there's the other two, and it's live, it timestamps them. And as you'd have, so basically it's coming in as a timestamp, and then all your questions would be along here as different columns. And it works really nicely. We've used it a few times here at school for informal surveys before we got SurveyMonkey. And SurveyMonkey seems to be the go-to, but this is really nice as well. If you wanted your results in a spreadsheet immediately, it's a nice way to do it. But also it kind of looks nice, and it's easy, and of course it's free. And you can also send the form to people. So I can share the link, again like normal, and I can add collaborators, which are people who can let me help me build the form. So once the form is done, I can show it to people, or I can get people to help me build it. I can choose to close this if I want. I'm no longer accepting them, and I can set something that says we're no longer accepting responses. I can add a different question down here. Go to add item, and I can pick what I want. So let's say I want to add, and you can add other things. You can add page breaks to break up your form, and you can add images and videos. So if I want to add an image, I can upload, or I can take a snapshot of me, or I can add it by URL, or I can pull it from my drive. So we already have a jellyfish over here that we already uploaded. So we're going to add a jellyfish. There he is. I'm going to call him jellyfish. And the hover text is going to be a nice jellyfish. And we're done with that. And hit done. And there he is, he's set. I hover over him, I should say nice jellyfish. There we go. But we want more questions probably. So we can have maybe a scale. So how cool is Google Forms? Can't spell today. See my typing at my worst. And we have a scale, and it's from 1 to 5, and label 1 is terrible, and it's awesome. And I hit done. So that's added. So if I view the live form again, you'll now see that the live form consists of our first question, a picture of a jellyfish, and a like it scale, which I then submit, which is kind of cool. And if I then come back over here, we can view the responses again, and we now have answers that are getting the second question that we've added. So it actually works really nicely. You can add questions if you want to, you can do whatever you want. But I like forms. It's, I think, kind of an overlooked feature of Google Drive. Okay, so that's on forms. Back over here, we again see that we can do presentations. I'm just going to show you these. I'm not going to take you through them in any great detail, but as you can see, it looks basically like a PowerPoint. I get to pick a background, so let's go with this one, a theme, and then I get to do basically the same stuff you would do in PowerPoint. It even looks like a PowerPoint. And you have very similar options. You have slide options, and you can make master slides that then power everything else. If I right click, I can add a new slide, and I can change the types of slides. This is a title slide, and this is obviously a content slide, and I can change this with layout, so I can make it so that it's a title and body slide, or that it's a side by side slide. And we can do transitions again, so this transition can fade in. And we apply that to all slides. All slides are then fading, and we can play it so it looks like it's, there it is, isn't that pretty? It's beautiful. And we can change the speed and all that kind of thing. So basically it's like PowerPoint, except for you have the option to share. So I need to name it first. It's now called an untitled presentation. Again, I can choose people to share it with, and again they can come and edit it. They can add pictures, they can add notes to the bottom down here, just like you can in PowerPoint. And when you're done, if you need to, you can also download as a PowerPoint. You can download it as a graphic if you want to, of various kinds. But the whole idea is that you can share it with people. So that's the presentation side. And then again, you've seen spreadsheets as the back of forms. I'll show you again. Basically like Excel. Again, you have all of the functions. You have the graphing and calculating functions, as well as everything else. And once again, you can download it as an Excel file, or you can download it as some of the more useful files that Excel can output to. So that's about it for Google Drive. It's very, very powerful, and this does not do it any justice at all. I've been using it for many years. Down here you can see all of the things we've just created. I'm going to tidy up my drive here. Let me leave the jellyfish there. let me just delete the untitled presentation, which is now gone. I will post the form for you to take a look at, and I will share some of the links to some of these so you can mess around with them if you want to. So you can come in and see the collaborative features, and maybe you'll see someone else logged in, and you can chat with them and play with Google Drive. But it's very, very powerful. It's like Word, but without having to save your document, tracking changes, sending it somewhere else. They open it, they accept your changes, they edit it themselves, they send it back. That whole process doesn't need to happen anymore. Google Drive is awesome, and there is an education version for this. It's Google Drive for Education, which has some specific things that education requires for FERPA requirements, for example. We're bringing it up here at UT in the med school to start with, and I have access to that. This is not my Google Docs for Education. This is my personal one, but it's going to be useful for our researchers, and I know our students use it a great deal to do collaborative documents. So they'll build their class notes in it as a group rather than everybody taking an individual set of notes. And they'll all add their stuff, and then they can talk about it on the side in the comments, and they can resolve things, and they can link to files. And you can link to individual files here by taking the sharing notes. You can add a link to a Google Docs file within another one, so kind of create almost like a living book, almost like a website. So you can, or a wiki even, kind of like a wiki, I guess. You can jump between various documents that way, and I've seen that used to some good effect, especially with collaborative documentation. But on the whole, it's fantastic. You should give it a try if you haven't done so already. Just play with it. It can't hurt. You've probably already got a Google account, and at the very least it gives you 15 gigabytes of storage for free. Oh, just as an aside, cost-wise, that's for free. If you wanted to upgrade to 100 gigabytes, it's $1.99 a month, which is significant. It's a significant saving on Dropbox, which is $9.99 a month. And it goes all the way up to 30 terabytes. Why you'd want 30 terabytes, I'm not quite sure. Maybe you're a movie editor. Maybe you'll need 30 terabytes for something like that. But on the whole, it's good and free, and you've probably already got it. So take a look, see what you think. I'll post some links up for you to explore of the things that I've just built here, the very basic documents, and let's see what we can do with it.